Today, we examine a case from the early 19th century. So, settle in comfortably as we travel to England. Before we dive into this chilling case, if you're new here, welcome to Black Lantern Stories, the channel where we explore the darkest and most mysterious tales from history. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that will send shivers down your spine. Mary Ashford was born on the 31st of December 1796 in the English county of Warwickshire. At the time of her birth, King George III was on the British throne, and the country was still marked by the repercussions of the Napoleonic Wars, which had deeply influenced local society and the economy. Education for girls was not considered a priority. Some learned reading, writing, and skills like sewing. Girls who could attend school generally went to a single-room school with one teacher, and many children were often absent to help with the harvest or assist their families. Most children left school to work by the age of 10. Child labour was common throughout Britain, and by 1800, many children worked in factories and mines. Over 50% of the workforce was under 14, and working conditions were often dangerous and exhausting. Like many other young girls, Mary entered domestic service. By 1817, she worked as a general servant in her uncle's household, who owned a farm in the village of Langley Heath, very close to the town of Sutton Coldfield. At that time, farm servants often lived with their employers, starting work before dawn and finishing long after sunset. On Monday, the 26th of May, 1817, Mary completed her usual tasks. She was looking forward to the evening. She was going to a dance in the village of Erdington, just outside Birmingham. It was about 4 miles from her uncle's farm, and the village was a well-known stop for stagecoaches travelling between Chester and London. It was also the village where her parents lived, and her father worked as a gardener. The dance was held annually at the Three Tuns, also locally known as Tyburn House, and it was always well attended. Mary was very excited to go, and when she finished her work, she went to Erdington, arriving in the early evening. She stopped at her parents' house to pick up a nice dress before going to a lady named Madam Brady, where her good friend Miss Hannah Cox lived. Mary changed there, leaving her work clothes behind, and she and Hannah went to Tyburn House, arriving around 7:30 p.m. There were already many people, and the most fashionable dance of the evening was the quadrille, a dance Mary and Hannah had practiced. The steps have been published in many dance journals, which were very popular during the Regency era. Among the attendees was a young gentleman named Abraham Thornton. He was 24 years old and described as a strong, robust young man. He was the son of a builder from Castle Bromwich, a village near Birmingham. Mr. Thornton seemed quite taken with Mary. He spent a lot of time talking to her, and she appeared happy in his company. Mary's friend Hannah caught the attention of another young man, Benjamin Carter, and they were seen talking together all evening. Around 11 p.m., Hannah was ready to leave. She had to work in the morning and did not want to be late returning to Madam Brady. She told Mary it was time to go, and Mr. Thornton decided to accompany her. He walked beside Mary while Hannah stayed a few steps behind. However, shortly after, Mary decided not to return to Erdington. She told Hannah she would instead go to her grandfather's house, which would shorten her route for work the next morning. But Mary had left her work clothes at Madam Brady's. Miss Cox returned home while Mary continued talking with Mr. Thornton. Mary did not go to her grandfather's house, but around 2:45 a.m., Mr. Thornton was seen by a worker speaking to a young lady. The worker greeted him, but noticed the young woman never looked up and seemed to be trying to cover her face with her bonnet. A little over an hour later, at 4 a.m., Miss Cox was awakened by Mary. Mary told her she needed her work clothes because she had to be back at her uncle's before he got up to go to the market. She quickly changed, said goodbye to Hannah, and left. She was seen by a young man named Mr. Broadhurst, who remembered her from the dance at Tyburn House. She was alone and walking briskly. At 6 a.m., a man named George Jackson, a labourer, was on his way to work when he noticed a woman's shoe and bonnet near a water-filled pit. Examining the shoe, he noticed traces of blood. Looking around, he realized a trail of blood led from the pit to a nearby bush. George Jackson went to the nearest cottage where William Lavelle answered the door. They returned to the pit and were quickly joined by other men heading to work. To their horror, they found the body of a young woman, Mary Ashford. Some of the men remembered her from the dance the previous evening. The neighboring field had recently been harrowed, and 2 local factory workers found footprints leading from the field to the pit. They assumed they belonged to a couple, but there was only one set of footprints leading back from the pit, the man's, heading toward Castle Bromwich. At the time, Britain had no formal police force. Law enforcement relied on street commissioners, night watchmen, and justices of the peace. William Webster, the local factory owner, ordered that Mary's body be taken to William Lavelle's house. He went to Tyburn House to determine what time Mary had left the dance and who had accompanied her. Meanwhile, the footprints were covered with boards to protect them from rain and curious onlookers. The owner of Tyburn House, Mr. Daniel Clark, remembered Mary spending much of the evening with Abraham Thornton. He went to find him and quickly did. Thornton claimed he had left her around 4 a.m., returning to Madame Brady for her work clothes. He accompanied Mr. Clark to Tyburn House and was arrested after questioning by the local constable Thomas Dales. Magistrate William Bedford ordered a search of Mr. Thornton and discovered bloodstains on his undergarments. The autopsy revealed that Mary had drowned and had never been intimate with anyone before. She was menstruating at the time of her death, which made some medical aspects relevant to the trial. On May 30, the official investigation began, presided over by local magistrate Francis Hackett. Witnesses stated that Thornton had threatened Mary. The prosecution charged him with voluntary murder, but no signs of resistance were found. The footprints in the field were compared to Thornton's shoes. The trial, starting in August 1817, drew large crowds. Women were barred from the courtroom due to the sensitive nature of the trial. The defense, led by William Reader, pointed out that the footprints had been altered by rain and that Thornton had been seen at multiple locations, at times incompatible with the crime. After only 6 minutes of deliberation, the jury declared Abraham Thornton not guilty. The prosecution presented no additional evidence for sexual assault, and Thornton was acquitted again. Local public opinion was outraged. A Birmingham lawyer, William Bedford, campaigned to use the centuries-old legal process of a murder appeal, allowing a retrial of the person previously acquitted. Thornton was arrested again on October 19 and tried in London on October 28 before suspense. The case was adjourned and resumed on November 17, drawing massive public attention. During the trial, Thornton declared his innocence and offered a judicial cure, an archaic procedure unused since the 15th century, to prove his innocence. William Ashford, Mary's brother, did not accept the rule. Thornton was freed. He later emigrated to the United States, became a Mason, married, had children, and died in Baltimore around 1860. In June 1819, a bill abolished private murder appeals and the right to trial by combat. No one else was ever accused of Mary Ashford's murder. Over the years, the case was largely forgotten, until exactly 157 years later, in May 1974, when Erdington residents were reminded of it by a strikingly simple crime. This mirrored case can now be seen on the channel Black Lantern Stories. Hello everyone, and thank you very much for listening. As you know, I truly appreciate all your comments and feedback, so please feel free to leave them. If you want to hear about the 1974 case, which is very similar to Mary Ashford's, follow the link in the description. If you enjoyed the story and want more historical mysteries and horror tales, make sure to subscribe and join the ** Black Lantern Stories ** community. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the case and share this video with anyone who loves a good mystery. I hope to see you all in the next episode of Black Lantern Stories.